Crazy? Sound వస్తలే.
My screen is visible to you now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today topic is chapter. Today is the chapter Unit 8. Unit 8, the Press and Registration of Books Act, Delivery of Books and Newspapers Act, and Copyright Act. These are all the very important topics for you. So in copyright and how to maintain the library, how to manage the library with copyright protection. So this is very important topic for those who are professional librarians. So in academic and research and also uh, uh, special libraries. So the librarians has to maintain some uh, uh, production of acts, copyright act, as well as these newspapers and also registration books. They must know the provisions and also restrictions and also amendments. So what are the provisions available? How many times enacted this, uh, and also how many times amend this act? So you should know the provisions. So what are the provisions we have? So this is very important topic and also vast subject. So not only one day, 1 hour. So it's at least you have to uh, practice or read or exercise minimum 1 week on this topic. Okay, so all the topics and subtopics we have. Each subtopic you can take 1 day, you can read carefully on the textbook, or also you can get some other materials also. You can prepare for according to your syllabus. So here you have the main uh, Unit 8. This is the Press and Registrations and Books Act and Delivery of Books Act and Newspaper Act and Copyright. Copyright is the very most and very useful and important topic for the professional librarians. So here we have a agenda of this presentation today. So we will cover all these topics. What is the objective of this topic? And also introduction, Press and Registration Act, Books Act 1867. So this is before independence, British India period. So they have given some provisions in the Act, Press and Registration and Books Act also. So what are their objectives, important provisions? So after independence, so India also enacted the 1954 Delivery of Books and Newspapers for Public Libraries. This is also so before independence, after independence. So both we have to discuss today. So what are the provisions we have? So what is the drawbacks we have in these two acts? Okay, so there are many drawbacks in the act. So there are many loopholes. So what we can say loopholes also. We have every legal acts and also provisions we have. So uh, we are every day we are following legal news. I think TV or in newspaper. Every act, any critical acts also they have a legal provisions. They can get easily. They can get some relief from the courts and legal aid. So there are many loopholes in our Indian constitution and other acts also. So likewise in copyright also we have copyright acts also we are violating. So the in the academics as well as research libraries also. So mainly copyright, what are the history of the copyright background, historical background of this Copyright Act. So Indian Copyright Act, history and amendment provisions act, these are acts. So uh, we have so copyright and digital environment. Today's is everything is digitalization. So everything is available on YouTube, everything is available on Google. So everything is available on digital platforms. So everything can be changed within seconds, fraction of seconds. Nowadays, we are using AI, artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is the very big advantage as well as behind that there is a very bad this practice also we have. So easily we can enter the keywords within fraction of seconds. We can get hundreds of pages. So in particular topic, if we wanted to search what are the copyright in Copyright Act in India, so we within fraction of seconds we can get 10 pages, 15 pages. Okay, so that is the provision we have in nowadays digital environment, digital networks today. So in after COVID, so this digitization and also this e-resources and also online versions. So users are using very rapidly. So next summary. What are the summaries of all these topics? And also model questions. I will give you some model questions. So further reading also you have subject books. So you can also read other reference books. This is very useful for you. So here in the textbook they mention 5 to 10 pages or 15 pages. So that is not enough to cover this all the chapters. You have to read additional books. So there are a lot of material. You have print copies or online copies we have. So you can follow the further readings also. So that is useful for your career, not only examination point of view. So other point of view, if you wanted to improve your knowledge on this particular topic, you have to read more and more uh, uh, reference resources outside. Okay. So there are many resources we have. So if you want, I will suggest you some resources. So objectives. So legislation enable the government bring out the desired economic, social, economic, cultural, educational development of country. So for this purpose, they bring to the constitution. So act they bring to the for the enacted. So in order to know the recording culture and intellectual arts and country, then the colonial British government Indian brought into the Press and Registrations of Books Act in 1867. So before that, the India the ruled by the Britishers. So in the British government, they brought out the printing press to the India. So there are very big history. So we have. So you have to read this. So how they are publishing started in India. Actually, there is no publishing in India before independence, the British. So before that, there is a Talapatra Grandalu. So you know Talapatra Grandalu in olden days. So in the Sanskrit or other our culture heritage recorded in Talapatra Grandalu. That is called mm, olden days our ఋషి in Telugu our ఋషులు వాళ్ళు వీళ్ళు సాంస్క్రిట్ లో వాళ్ళు మొత్తం మన తాళపత్ర గ్రంథాల పైన రికార్డ్ చేసేవాళ్ళు ఏదైనా మన కల్చర్ ని కానీ అంత మన నాలెడ్జ్ after British rule, after Britishers, they bring to our printing press to our country. They started printing in, I think, in first Goa, say East India Company. They entered from the Goa area. So East India Company, they started printing press. So there is a history. You have to read this, so you can get this information in books also, other books also. So you have to read. So just I'm giving major I hope it's books only. So I'm briefing here. So in depth, there is a lot of knowledge we have with printing and printing press, how they are printing press introduced in India. So how they are introduced the books into the India. So how they are uh, uh, how they are the printing press and books into the India. They circulated papers through Bible or something. So they circulated more information into the Indian culture. So in 1897, 1867, they introduced the bill in Parliament, British government. They brought out the bill. This bill made after independence, Government of India enacted Delivery of Goods, Newspapers, Public Libraries Act, 1954. So bibliographical control over the national intellectual. So what is the bibliography? So as a mm, library science student, you must know the bibliography. So what is the meaning of bibliography? So you can note down. So bibliography. So you can search in internet or in your books. What is the bibliography? Okay, bibliography means so bibliographic record. So bibliographic record means one book is there. For example, uh, your book is there. So it's Bachelor of Library Science, Semester 1, Discipline, specific course for library and society. This is your subject now. This is your paper. So you have a book, 300 pages book here. So, so 300 pages book here. So in that, that is called, you have a author, you have a title, you have a publisher. So you have a year of publication and also place of publication, number of pages. Okay, number of pages. So book size. So this is called the bibliographic details. So bibliographic details means the complete details of that particular book. Okay, you can note down this. So bibliographic details, bibliography, bibliographical control. Okay, these are all uh, comes the complete information of the particular information or source or particular book. So these are the bibliographic details: author name, publisher name, copyright year, a number of pages. Okay, so who is a publisher or editor? Okay, these are the details called by the bibliography. So these are the basic things, the basic terms we have to know. Okay, so bibliography. The bibliography control over the nation of intellectual output. Intellectual means, the intellectual means, so that is the knowledge, or idea. Okay, that's called the intellectual. So these are the basic terms you should know. So Johan, please. Okay. So while these are the objectives we have. So in these two acts, so deal with bibliographic control, the Copyright Act, deal with the protection of intellectual property rights. So what is the intellectual? So intellectual property rights. So intellectual property rights means so you have some property. You publish one something. You publish one book. You publish one book or one research paper. So that is your knowledge. So this is the rights you have. You have a rights for on the your knowledge. That is called the intellectual property. For example, this is the rights of your knowledge. Intellectual property rights with your knowledge rights. Okay. So if you publish something, if you write something, you have a rights on that that particular say that knowledge. So that's called the intellectual property. So you have a rights, you have a legal provisions on that the knowledge. Okay, that's called the intellectual property rights. You have to read. So we have intellectual property rights one chapter. So that is not a 1 hour or 2 hours subject. We have to read more and more on this. Okay. Explain the objective provisions of Press Registration Books Act 1867. So Delivery of Books Newspaper Act 1954. Discuss the important provisions of the Copyright Act and discuss the problems posed by the digital and network environment. Some of the provisions of Copyright Act 1957. These are all uh, we are going to discuss today. Okay. So continuation, copyright and history, copyright of act history, amendment, provisions. So they say digital environment summary, model question papers further read. Okay. So Indian historical related press books and dates from the East India Company I explained you. So this introduced in the Press Registration Act, Books Act in the 25 of 18 was 1867 was passed in 1867. That enabled the government regulate the printing press and also newspapers system in registration. So this is the act introduced in the 1867. So in the 1878 saw the enforcement of Ethical Press Act, which was specifically directed against the news published in Indian languages for the punishment and suffering. This act also violated some of the authors, some of the scholars and others. They violated the act, so copy monkey they copy and they publish something. So this act is comes for enforcement. So copyright related to the these areas. So okay, copyright relates creations. For example, not only books, not only research areas. So copyright related to the artistic creates such poems, novels, music, paintings, cinematographic works. For example, cinematographic means so. Balasubramaniam is there. He is the legend of Indian. Hello, Ramesh Boda. Please unmute. Please mute yourself.
Sorry, sorry.
Actually, we have a SP Balasubramanian. So he is the famous singer in India. So he was honored by the government of India several times. So he given me he given us society the thousands of songs and other music composer, music director. He has given many uh, songs in different areas, not only cinematography, and also he has given some other areas. So he has some rights, copyright, some rights he has. Okay, so not only books, not only other things, so and also music and paintings and novels and also cinematographic works. For example, you have a copyrights for the all the films, so they have a rights. So the producer has a rights on the particular film for the certain period they have. So each yeah, it's a unique kind of intellectual property and importance of growing our day by day. So it's a human beings have a capacity to create. So for example, you have a Pochampalli sarees. So you know the ladies there they know very well. So Pochampalli sarees is very unique. So the ikat is the one of they have a, some patent on that. Okay, so that is the right of that patent rights they have on the Ikat, Pochampalli Ikat. That is also one of the worlds who recognized something. Recently, they got a award or something, Pochampalli rights. So that is the right of that particular. Hello, everyone, please mute yourself. So you are disturbing unnecessarily. So others also suffering. Okay, so that is a copyright and also intellectual right. So they have some patent rights they have so in particular areas. So those who are generated the knowledge, so they have a right on that intellectual right. So those who are writing books, so they have a copyright on that. So those who are painting, so they have a rights on the particular painting. So painting, we have the famous painters, they have a rights on that. They have a patents on that. So nobody cannot simply they cannot copy and reproduce the knowledge. Okay, so this comes all under the intellectual property rights and also copyrights. Okay, so these are the mm, rights we have. So how they can get the copyright, how they are get the rights from the legally. So in comes under copyright act. Okay, so they can authors compose artistic designers and also creating producing original works. So composers also. A.R. Rahman, we have A.R. Rahman. And also we have a in Balasubramanian already we discussed. So other musicians we have. So and also music directors we have. For example, in Telugu movie, someone we have. So they have their own styles. They cannot uh, copy and they cannot use without permission of the particular uh, author or particular mm, composer. Uh, and also so literary and democratic dramatic and also music and artistic works. So cinematographic films, sound recordings, already we discussed sound recording also. Sound recording means film music. So Press and Registrations Act 1867. This act was enacted in the year of 1867 in the British colonial rule, regulating the printing press. Already we discussed it. So the positive aspect of was the preserve the copies, newspapers, and books printing from the 1867 who is registering them. So every publisher or producer those who are publishing books in India, so those who are publishing newspapers, they have to submit their books into the government four copies. So every year, so they have to send all their publishing recordings to the government of India as well with the specific libraries we have. So we will discuss in the next slide. Objective of the Act. The objective of the Act are so secure the information relating the printing houses or establishment of their publications. So these are most important. So preserve the copies is every book, newspaper printing in India, printed in India. So every copy of newspaper, so they preserve in India. So Indian some libraries, so public libraries, they have to send every day by their own postal charges. They have to courier to the particular libraries. So and also they have to submit their annual publishing report to the government of India. So preserve the publications, mostly literature. So literature means so we have to preserve the knowledge. Preserve means we have to store the knowledge for the future purpose. So we have to submit our knowledge to the government. They will preserve. They will create the bibliography in National Library in Calcutta. So they will create the record. They will preserve. Okay. Important provisions. These proceedings sections and enactment of the action objectives given the following important sections in the Act. Interpretation of terms. So link any other Act sections deal with the interpretations terms used in the Act, such as goods, so registers, papers, newspapers, press registers, printers, and printing, etc. So delivery of printed books in the newspapers. Sections 9 Act deals with the delivery of
Excuse
printed
me,
books
sir.
as a gratis. Yes,
Excuse me, sir. Sorry to interrupt
yes.
you, sir. Can you be a bit louder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once.
Thank you, sir.
Now okay. Hello. Now okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Actually, these are the sections of the academic deals with the delivery of printed books gratis. Gratis means so you can note down gratis. What is the meaning of gratis? So gratis means donated something. So for example, I wanted to donate my thesis book to the library. So that is comes under gratis. Gratis means donation. Okay. So this is a specific word for the libraries. Gratis means so. For example, you have some books with you for novels or any other knowledge books. So you wanted to donate to the books to the public library. That is comes under gratis. Okay. So this term is very useful and also important. Gratis. Okay. Uh, This section stipulated to the printed copies to the whole of the every book which shall be printed in India together with all the maps and text, etc. So there are certain rules and regulations they frame. Uh, Rules and regulations they frame for this act. So they have to publishers they have to follow the same. So they issue the notifications official gazette time to time. So delivered by the printer, such place, such officers, state government shall pay, notify in the gazette time to time. The printer publisher has delivered the 3 copies each publication to the state government within the in the calendar year. Calendar year means so calendar year. What is the calendar year? Here you have a calendar year, academic year, finance. Three is very different. Okay, calendar year means it starts from January 1st to December 31st. Okay, that is called the calendar year. Academic year starts from the June 1st to 31st May. So in academic libraries, academic calendar, so academic, for example, if you wanted to join in degree course. So degree course means so you have BLIC or MLIC, any course. So that's called if you join different dates, that is different. Notification is different. As academic year starts from the June 1st to 31st May. Okay, finance year starts from the
April
March,
1st.
April 1st to March 31st. Okay, these
31st.
3 years calendar years is different. Okay. So academic year always starts from the June 1st to May 31st, and calendar year starts from the January to December 31st. Okay. So these are the rememberable. You have to remember always. So academic calendar is different, financial calendar is different, also calendar year is different. So likewise, Section 11A, the Act stipulated that printers, every newspaper in India shall be delivered to such places and also such officers to state government may be notification in official gazette direct and free of expenses of the government. 2 copies of each issue such newspapers as soon as it is published. So every day they have to publish their newspapers. So though, for example, Enadu paper is one of the Telugu paper, famous Telugu paper, regional language paper. So they have to send the 2 copies to the government every day, their own expenses. For example, Times of India, you have that is the English newspaper and also Hindu newspaper you have. So they have to send every day 2 papers to the government, state government, regional language papers. For example, you have many papers, Namaste Telangana, Sakshi, that paper. Every day they can send their papers to the government every day. So with their own postal charges or postal whatever, any mode they have to deliver 2 papers. Penalty of delivery of books and newspapers. So they have a penalty. So if they are failed to deliver the books and newspapers. So Section 16 Act stipulated for a printer of any book fails to deliver the copies of the books printed by him shall be fined not exceed the 50 rupees for the each default. So magistrate have justification the place where the book was printed. For example, in Hyderabad, uh, so, there are many publishers we have, many publishers. So nearly hundreds of publishers we have, books publishers. So they have to send their copies to designated libraries. So they have to send the copies their own uh, funding. So they have to courier, they have to deliver personally. So if fails, they have to pay each copy. They have to pay some fine, 50 rupees of fine each default. Okay, for example, in Hyderabad, so Hyderabad comes under so GHMC limits. So any magistrate they have to fine them. So if the issue going to the court, okay. Likewise, Section 16 stipulated if any printed newspaper published in India neglected to delivery copies, the same he was punishable, okay, by the magistrate. For example, Enadu paper. So in Telugu is the Telugu paper, nearly 20 to 30 papers every daily newspapers publishing in Hyderabad or Telugu, any in Telangana region. So they have to send their papers to the government every day 2 copies. free of cost. Okay, for preserving purpose. Preserving means Bhadraparcham. Bhadraparcham, every month they will preserve the papers, they will keep somewhere. In City Central Library, they preserve the papers. Every newspaper they preserve. So they have a newspaper section in the library. So they preserve all the copies. And also City Central Library, we have a last 10 years, 15, 20 years papers also you can get. So paper wise, they have a preservation section in the City Central Library. So the aim and main objective of this preservation. So if you need any newspaper or 10 years news related to any movement or any knowledge or any other communication, so you can go to the library. You can choose your rack. You can get the month wise and date wise. So orderly they can preserve the papers. So now, so every paper digital servers they are maintaining, so you can get the digital papers nowadays. So all the newspapers they are preserving digitally also. You can get the old newspapers, previous newspapers, digital copies also available now. Last few years they are maintaining soft copies also. So their newspaper, for example, Sashi now, they are maintaining all their old newspapers in date wise, year wise, month wise. They are preserving in their website. So this is very easier to get papers within fraction of seconds now. So olden days, we have to go to the library, central library, or any other digital library. You have to search the papers. You have to take the pages, fold the pages. You have to see. You have to search. That is very big task to get the particular news or particular column or editorial. If you refer the editorial. Nowadays, everything is digitalization. Digital paper also available in their publisher website. For example, Enadu maintaining digital copy, and also Namaste Telangana maintaining digital newspaper, e-newspaper. Within fraction of seconds, they are publishing the news. So, news related to the cricket, news related to the sports, news related to the political parties, political news. They are publishing within the headlines. They are publishing in the online news. So they are maintaining apps also nowadays. So olden days, there is very difficult to retrieve the papers. Okay. So these two provisions, we have a 16A, 16 sections, 3 and A of the delivery of books and newspapers in Public Library Act 1954. This is very useful act for the uh, delivery of books and newspapers. So the Delivery of Books and Newspaper Act for Public Library Act 1954 is very important after independence. So we get the act for the delivery of books before in British period, British India period. So we cannot get the papers. We are under British rule. So in Hyderabad is the Nizam state, different state, Hyderabad state. It was a different. Actually, this is a different country, Hyderabad country. This is not in India. So this is a province in Hyderabad state, separate state. So here we have a Urdu paper, and also most of the Urdu papers they publish in Hyderabad. So the Urdu paper now also publishing Urdu paper, some papers, yes, some Urdu papers. So olden days, so the three papers very less we have. Krishna paper, some newspapers we have. So after 1954. So amended 1956 also, including newspapers, also acted first milestone of towards activation of the Indian language publications in systematic manner, independent media. Okay. So according to Section 3 Act, every publisher to supply 4 copies of his publications to the National Library of Calcutta and other 3 designated libraries. That is the Kannamera Public Library, State Central Library of Chennai. Okay. So this is also one of the big library and also famous library. And also another one, the Central Library Town Hall, Mumbai. Third one, the Delhi Public Library, Delhi. Okay. 3 plus 1, National Library, and 3 other states libraries. 4 copies they have to send each and every publisher. So either newspaper or other book publications. The copy deposit National Libraries passed on to the Central Reference Library, Kolkata, for the preservation of the publication in the Indian National Bibliography (INB). INB, Indian National Bibliography. You can note down this INB. So Indian National Bibliography. So every book, already I explained you. So what is the bibliography? So they create the bibliography, they can preserve the bibliography. Nowadays, everything is digitization, bibliography available on OCLC and also other sites we have OCLC, so online catalog library, online computerized library we have. So you can get all the bibliography. So if you enter the, for example, I wanted to search the computer science, computer science. So just enter the computer science by the Porojan. Author is the Porojan. So you can get automatically within fraction of second all the bibliography details you can get in the OCLC. They are maintaining WordCat. So WordCat means Word Catalog. So everything is available. So in digitalization, olden days, we have everything is physical record. Now we online records we have. So we have a very rapid development in digitalization in library science also, library science cataloging also, library automation, digitalization we have everything we have in your fingertips now. So we have a lot of changes from 1956 to now. Okay. So the act was applicable for newspapers being in order to the acquiring newspapers to the public libraries for the reference record Government of India Amendment Act, Delivery of Books Act, Newspapers Public Library Act 1956, Wide Amendment Act 1956. So according to the section 3A, inserting. So these are all information available in your textbook. You can read carefully. So glance I'm going. So okay. Next. The Copyright Act. This is very important. Copyright Act is 1957. So protects the intellectual rights of authors, artists. So for example, I prepared this PPT now. So this is also we have a rights on the intellectual rights on this PPT. So we cannot easily directly copy paste. We cannot share. We cannot use for your commercial purpose or any other purpose. So this is you have to credit give to the this particular author. This is my paper, my PPT. So if you use anywhere, you have to give the source of this information. Source of information. Source of information. Who is the author for this? So my Dr. Uppala Lingaya is uh, the property copyright owner for this particular PPT. Okay. So we have if you wanted to use anywhere this, we have to pay source of information so and so. So I collected from so and so date, so and so page, so and so. So we have to give the credit to the author. So that is copyright protection intellectual right. Okay. So copyright protects the intellectual rights of authors, such as some other creators and creation original piece of work. It may be assigned to the creator, so literary and dramatic. Already I explained this recordings, cinematography fields in the bundle of rights, including rights reproduction. Reproduction means already I told you. For example, SP Balasubramaniam song is there. So if they wanted to keep in their films again, so they have to take rights from the Balasubramaniam. Is not in the life. So they have to take rights from their Varasulu అంటారు. వారసులు అనేది వారసులు. So they have a rights from their family. So they have to take rights from their family. So then only they can have to reproduce, they have to replay that song in their particular films. So that is the recording, say, that is the reproduction rights. Okay. Not only that, so anything. So for example, if you wanted to write the paper on this Copyright Act, so you have you are collecting some information from this slide. So you have to give the credit to the particular author. So that is the intellectual property right or copyright. The communication or public adapters translate translation works also. So if you wanted in this information into the Telugu or Urdu or Hindi, so you have to take the particular author permission to publish or translate or reprint or reproduce. So you have to take the permissions with suitable or on the paper. So you have to take. Okay, that is the motto of this act. Okay, historical background. In order to protect the rights of creators' knowledge, numerous international instruments for the forms, conventions, treaties, and international level have to come into the being. Some of the important conventions agreements concern the copyright presented in the sections. In the first convention mentioned in this regard was International Union of the Production of Literary and artistic work established in the 1886 in Switzerland. So we have a convention. So every year the conventions is going on in particular topics. For example, library science conventions also going on internationally and internationally and also state level. So in that conventions they discussed on this Switzerland. So when in 1886 they discussed something, they have given some output on the convention. So they mentioned in the act. So it's popularly known as a Berne Convention has been revised 5 times in the currently administered World Intellectual Property WIPO. This is called WIPO. So World Intellectual Property Rights Organization we have. So they will discuss always what are the provisions we have, what are the changes we have, how they can protect the acts in acts, how they can protect the intellectual knowledge, intellectual properties. So always they will work on this area. We World Intellectual Property Organization. We have a one organization, so they will work on it. Okay, there are many conventions we have, so they will discuss always. They will protect. Always they will work on a particular area. I'm going some fast, so we have a very limited time. So amendments of Copyright Acts, there are many amendments we have. So Indian Copyright Act 1957 was amended. So and also so far 3 years, so 80, 83, 84 and also 94 and 99 also. So they amended for provisions. So every act, every time. So according to our convenience, the amendment also is going on. Our constitution also many times amended. So likewise, they are amended Copyright Act. Okay. So in 1999 amended. So corporate filing amended for the definition of library literary works and also meaning of copyright specific to the computer programs. Also increasing terms copyrights performance 25 years for the 50 years. So for example, best example is for example, Balasubramaniam is there. He recorded one song in, for example, 2020. He has a rights to 25 years and 50 years. So both okay, from 25 years, they have a rights. After that, automatically that will expire. Okay. For example, I write one book on the digital libraries in India. Okay. So I published a book in 2023. So I have a 25 years on the copyright on this that particular book, and also 50 years. So we have to choose before copyright agreements. Okay. So this is the copyright limit timeline. Okay. So new new provisions relating to the power of government India to apply provisions of the broadcasting agreements. These are the amendments they made. So in the 1999. Okay. Indian Copyright Act 1957. So already I given this information. Okay. Uh, Copyright digital works. This is very, very important. Nowadays, everything is in online. So everything is, so for example, if you wanted to search information on copyright, so you can go to the AI, artificial intelligence, just you enter in copyright 1957. So act. So you can get the automatically pages. So what are the act, what are the amendments we have, what are the things we have. So the same just you copy and paste in your works or you can use for your assignment. So that is called the copyright issue and also plagiarism issue. So that is why the plagiarism issue. The mucky you can copy and you paste for your assessments and also your project work or you wanted to submit your thesis to the universities. So that is called the copyright violation. And also nowadays everything is online available. Millions of documents available online. Okay, so easily you can copy paste. So you can also if the document is in PDF, so you can go to the conversion to the Word format. So the same copy you can paste in your project this is final project. So you can submit to the university. That is violation of the act, Copyright Act. Okay, and also you are reproducing the knowledge with plagiarism. So we have a plagiarism checker softwares also we have nowadays. So hundreds of softwares we have, commercial softwares we have. So if it's, for example, I submitted my thesis to the university. So my thesis 500 page thesis submitted to the university. They check my thesis in online plagiarism check. So plagiarism check. So plagiarism limit is uh, below 10%. If exceed that below above 10%, my thesis will be received. Okay, these tools we have, computer tools we have now nowadays, research tools we have. So I am also using the Turnitin for similarity check and plagiarism check for my university. Even though my university, so 10 marks paper also they will check in Turnitin. So below 10% papers only they can accept. My teachers accept below 10%. So they will assess their papers in online. So below 10%, they will give the marks. So everything is the digitization is very sometimes there are many advantages we have, disadvantages also we have. So we have a tools also, research tools for prevention of this plagiarism and similarity other things. So that is protecting the this copyright and digital network environment, protecting the anti-plagiarism tools. That is called a anti-plagiarism tools. So plagiarism means you have to know plagiarism definition and meaning. Plagiarism means so you are directly mucky copy and paste in your work. So you are tempting others' knowledge. Tempting means దొంగతనం. సో నేను ఇప్పుడు పీపీటీ తయారు చేశాను దీన్ని కాపీ మొత్తం తీసుకొని కాపీ పేస్ట్ చేసుకొని ప్రజెంట్ చేయండి దాన్నే టెప్తింగ్ ఆఫ్ నాలెడ్జ్ టెప్తింగ్ ఆఫ్ మై నాలెడ్జ్ ఓకే సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు గివ్ ద సమ్ క్రెడిట్ టు ద ఆథర్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఐ ప్రొడ్యూస్ దిస్ పీపీటీ so you have to give to the some credit to the author so we have a citations so that is a vast subject so he did not understand at this level. So you have to give some credit to the author so that that's not theft. Okay. So there are many tools you have. So prevention of this thefting. So this organization is working on this digital rights reproduction, Indian Reproduction Rights Organization, IRR. So the government of India is under provisions the Copyright Act. So this organization is like people, World Intellectual Property in worldwide. So in Indian level, Indian Production Rights Organization, they are working on these copyright violations and everything. So we have a one paragraph on your Excel file, so you can read carefully this, so you can able to understand. So implications of library information centers. As being a librarian, I'm working with, from uh, last 25 years onwards. So there is a for example, the students will come to your library. So for example, book is not available. For example, some book. So electrical engineering, some theories. So for example, I'm saying I'm taking one book example. So that book is only one book available in our library. So the students wanted 25 students wanted the same book. That is a reference book or textbook or any book. So they wanted book. So simply, so we are maintaining Xerox center also in the library software. That is called a reprographic service. So that they will come, they will demand the book. So I will take entire book